Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extraterrestrials, undesirable invaders from another world, must be destroyed if possible that our dark past and pray.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, mariachi musicians, and anyone who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, episode 36. I am your host, as usual, Tasker. We have over here the Spectre Detector, Nick.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Yeah.
That's appalling.
Oh, dude, that song is stuck in my head, man.
Well, first of all, how?
I don't know. I think because you're part Mexican, and I was thinking about that earlier today, and then okay, the only song that when people think Mexican parties, they think of La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha.
Pretty sure they mostly think.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Pretty sure they also think of the Mexican hat dance. That thing.
Yeah. Both goofy ass songs, man. So
Yeah.
Congratulations. It's awesome.
The Mexican, the half of my culture, half of what makes me who I am, which is Mexican, knows how to party. They know how to have fun and they know how to celebrate. And that is just if you're a hybrid race like me or full blown, that's something that's just in the blood. So fuck me for us having cool music.
Yeah, man. I wish that I had Hawaiian music that was about cockroaches.
Oh, yeah. But, dude, also, that's not the only Mexican music that exists. I mean, dude, fucking Despacito.
Despacito was a Justin Bieber song.
It was. Oh, my God. Okay, we're not talking about this. It's curious to me that whenever you think of me, La Cucaracha is the first thing that plays in your head.
I'm sorry, man. It's just because, never mind. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I do believe that one of the only music genres in Mexico is that polka music. It's got to be, because that's all I ever hear blasting out of cars and in restaurant kitchens. All I ever hear is that.
Well, at least they have something cultural. At least there is cultural music. And that's the thing, is that's not all Mexican people listen to at all.
All right, look, I'm burying myself deeper than I need to be right now, and I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man, especially because in the U.S. Things are heating up.
Yes, things are getting pretty bad right now.
Yeah, well, we just had the first death on the Trump supporter side, which is there's just, the minute it happened, it's just, you could just see. I was there. I was on Twitter the hour it happened, and you just immediately see the two news sites just starting to spin their story to try to heighten the tensions on each side. We won't get too much into it, but I don't know, man. You think this is the precursor of a possible second civil war?
God, I hope so. It's been a long time since the first one.
Bad take, but yes. Why are you excited for the second civil war?
Okay, look, overpopulation is an issue. We've talked about it. We've talked about it on the podcast. The war that killed the most Americans was the Civil War. If we do one more Civil War, we'll trim the fat a little bit, and then, we'll prosper afterwards. I call it the Thanos theory. See,
if, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but if it does, holy shit, we are going to look back on this episode and feel so bad.
Yes, because I will not say whether I'm joking or not, but I will probably feel bad if it actually happens, and all of a sudden, brothers are fighting brothers and sisters are slapping sisters. I don't know.
Well, and to be fair to ourselves, we are a conspiracy podcast, so it's not like, dude, if you're coming to us for actual news, well, it's not too much better than other news outlets and stuff, but conspiracy, it's an endless cycle of misinformation.
Tasker will give you the actual news. Well, the only news we can get our hands on, the quote unquote news, because really, like Tasker said, both sides are spinning their story. It makes sense. They have people to pander to, but Tasker will give you the news, and I will be there to make light of it, because that is the only way that we can cope as human beings.
Precisely. Well, especially if it's another civil war, which if we look back in history, the original American Civil War, like you said, was one of the most deadly in world history. I think it's definitely up there.
It killed the most Americans because we were killing Americans. See, the math is all there.
The logic stands strong. But also, if you note, there are a lot of very haunted locations because of the Civil War where so many lives were lost. So if you could see where I'm going with here, we're talking about ghosts today.
Yes, we're finally doing it. I know people out there have been wanting it. We haven't touched on ghosts. We haven't touched on anything like this before, but we want to start slowly introducing it to your earbuds, your earballs. We're going to slowly start getting it out there.
Yeah, we're getting more into we're expanding our scope of the supernatural. I mean, we can even argue, because I mean, I remember even if in a previous episode, if you're one of the brave few who's trying to fill out your Steam achievement list and listen to all of our episodes, if you look way back, we did discuss the idea of ghost actually being a version of a living person from another dimension, possibly crossing over. It's like a sort of colliding of dimensions, and that's what we know or see as ghost, as a possible theory.
Yes, but we are going to be going into these specific hauntings. So we're going to look at them from the outside in. I'm not going to throw any theories out there that I personally have theories about what ghosts are, but I'm not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what the story entails. Okay. Because these hauntings, these poltergeist cases, these things we're going to go over, they're interesting. They're well documented, and they're going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys like this. I know this isn't aliens and cryptids, but we are, it's a, like Tasker said, we're expanding our horizons. So let's, before we do get into that, Tasker, you Scorpio son of a bitch, what is your horoscope today?
Okay. It's more of a horror scope.
Horror scope. Oh my. Oh,
it's not even October. We should save that for October. Call it horror scopes.
Horror scopes, because little do the people at home know that on our outline we spell horoscopes WHO.
We've been doing that for a long time now. So yeah, little secrets of the trade, little behind the curtain right here. But anyways, for my horoscope today, there is tension in the air, Scorpio, and you might be restless and anxious to start something. There's plenty of energy around to feed you, but the trick is to make sure that you're doing things for the right reasons. Don't do things out of guilt, fear, or regret. Keep on the best path for the best results.
Ooh, a lot of tension in the air right now, I'd say, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know last week I said I was working on a gig and I should be done. I'm not done.
Oh, shit.
But I think today or tomorrow I might be able to finish it. And there could be some tension about that. And that's good. It's that whole thing of like, make sure to stick with things for the righteous reasons. Don't do it because people are pushing you. So yeah, you can't stump me today.
Fair enough. I'm not even going to try. Not even going to try to stump you until later in the episode. So don't worry about it.
That's fair. Well, we'll see if your stars allow it. What's on your end?
You may be feeling a bit more in touch with your warrior side than your emotional side today, Cancer, which is funny because we were just talking about the Civil War thing. And you know what? I would join whichever side pays the most. So I am kind of feeling warrior-y.
Yeah, you can't write this shit. Like I said, just sometimes these horoscopes just trip me out.
More than likely, this will set the stage for conflict in your world of hopes and dreams. Be careful that you aren't too aggressive toward people who are just trying to help you. The danger here, is that you're most likely to hurt the ones closest to you. Be careful. Oh my goodness.
We literally, before the podcast, had a brief discussion about how if Nick ended up on the wrong side of the Second American Civil War, how he wouldn't hesitate to kill me because it's war buddy, quote. And but he did promise to bury me in my one and only anime body pillow that I own.
Yes. Yeah, but I neglected to mention the fact that I'd burn you too. So
okay. Well, like I said, I know you're trying hard to like desecrate me, but it still just feels like a Jedi burial, and I feel good about it.
All right, you're right. Okay, no. It was meant to be honorific. Like it was going to be like a pirate funeral, like you're a Viking or something. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Oh, and also too, like we discussed earlier, shit, I guess I do have to fight you then because we got to make it to Valhalla.
Yes. Oh, by the way, everybody, our goal as human beings is to get to Valhalla when Tasker and I die. So whether that's killing each other in combat or killing other people in combat together, whatever it takes.
Yeah, we have a pact. If we have a terminal, we both somehow get terminal diseases, which not impossible. We have a pact to just duel to the death, and it's gonna be hard because usually in a duel only one person gets killed. But does that? So we have to somehow maybe we just duel with like dynamite on our just wrapped around us.
So there's a time limit. We'll light it before we start fighting.
Yeah. But it has to be a good fight. It has to be like a ridiculous timer so we know that we can make it to Valhalla. And so like 30 seconds. I think I could last 30 seconds against you.
I think so. No, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, dude, and eternity of eating meat and fighting all day and stuff and just being in the best shape of your life. That sounds, I mean, I don't know. Viking, maybe we just need to start our own American party, the new Valhalla Viking party.
I would love to, man. But the problem is Hitler was super into the Norse pantheon and stuff, you know, and that kind of like puts it in a bad light these days.
God, Hitler ruins everything.
Hitler ruins everything. Okay, so let's, like we said, guess what, everybody? We are going to be talking about ghosts and stuff today. So I hope that you're excited. And this, like we said, this episode is going to be really special. We're introducing new subject matter. So we hope that you're going to, come along on the journey with us, get a little spooked. In particular, we're going to be going over the events of the Amherst Poltergeist case. So everyone listening, I want you to grab your EMF detectors for the first time ever on this podcast, and let's dive right in.
Are we going to get into the technology a whole lot in here, or is this one of those I just need to like shut up and listen?
Okay, so you're going to have to shut up and listen, Tasker, because if you read 2 sentences into the outline, you'd see this was in 1878.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, you got me there. I skimmed through it, but failed to notice the most baseline detail.
That's okay. That's why I'm here. I don't expect you to do any of this. That's why I write it, right?
Fair.
So, everybody, guess where we're going to? Now, we have some Canadian listeners. I don't want to offend anybody too badly, but I have to. So, our story is going to be taking place in the northest of North America, Canada. All right, buddy? So, we're going to Amherst, Nova Scotia, and that's going to in specific. So, we're going to Nova Scotia, all right?
Wow, it's like talking to a local.
Yeah, that's me, buddy. Just eating poutine and hanging out with like the French people and,
Have you ever had poutine?
No.
Dude, you would love it. I don't know why you're smashing on it, dude. It's really good.
I mean, it sounds good, but I don't support anything they do up there.
Your fucking people eat loco moco. It's almost the same thing. Like,
that is fucked up that you said it is not almost the same thing.
It is almost the same thing. It's meat and a carb covered in gravy.
2 different carbs. That's all that, you know what? 2 different carbs, man. And I don't put cheese curds on mine like a Wisconsinite, all right?
It's basically cheesy fries with gravy on it. And then you could put meat on it too.
All right, we're moving past the poutine thing, all right? I don't want to try it. I'm not trying.
What a shame. What a shame to your palate.
So we're in Nova Scotia, and the terror caused by this poltergeist took place between 1878 and 1879. Tasker?
So America has been around for a little over like 150 years. Was this after the war? Yes, this was after the War of 1812. I answered my own question.
Look at you.
Yeah, I think I mean, I might be incorrect, but I think we actually lost to Canada.
Did we ever? Wait, what are you talking about? Did we fight Canada?
Yeah, the War of 1812. Canada was against us. They were like super hard colonialized by the French at that point. But yeah, the War of 1812. It's when the White House got burned.
Well, maybe we should do it again.
Yeah, well, and that's a very interesting point. That's a very interesting, the fact that we don't know about that, because of course they're not going to teach that in American history book that we fucking lost, just like how Vietnam War is barely touched on because we lost, because that's the fucking public propaganda system in our education, man.
All right, buddy. I know. I agree. I agree 100% with you. But you know what? The Holocaust wasn't real. It's still in there.
Okay, that's just not true. But I was gonna say, why am I being the tinfoil hat one? And then you just like took like 1,000 levels above it.
Well, you know, I observe history, and you know, if it's not in the Germany textbooks, it probably didn't happen. So
that's
right.
I was gonna say, actually, more appropriately, you didn't take it 1,000 levels; you took more like 3 million levels above.
that's undershooting it. I think it was like 6 million levels.
Yes. Either way, it's gonna be a nice time in hell knowing somebody else. I'm very happy that we can go on that journey together.
Yes. No, it happened. I know it happened, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It's been long enough so I can make jokes about it. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about the family that's involved in the story so we can set a little background here. We have the main focus of the story, Esther Cox, who was 18 at the time.
Oh boy, that must have been fun, being named Cox at the age of 18.
Yeah, hey, Cox over there, buddy. I know your first name's Esther and everything, but we're just going to call you Cox from now on. Is that all right?
Oh, man. I remember there was somebody, not to give like actual names or something like that, but the last name had without giving the spelling, was Knoll, and the first initial was A. And in PE, back when we were kids, it would give your first initial and your last name. So they were anal for many years of their lives.
That's awesome. All right. That's great.
Oh, yeah. All right. Moving on with Mr. Cox.
Mrs. Cox. It's a woman. It's a lady who's 18 years old.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought, I was like, even worse. His name is Esther. Okay. It's a dude. It's a girl. Fuck.
Tasker. I'm the hungover one today. Okay. Let me act like the hungover one. You not.
I can't. It's just kind of, I don't know. I think it's just I think I'm just perma hungover now, even if I don't drink.
That's why you're Irish. All right.
That's fair.
So we also have her sister Olive and Olive's husband Daniel and their 2 children all in the same house. And there's also Esther's other sister and her brother who lived in the house, but they're unnamed, so I don't know their names, unfortunately. So long story short, this was a pretty full house. Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so now it's time to get into the actual events of the haunting. So sometime in August of 1878, Esther was sexually assaulted by one of her male friends, which is unfortunate. That is bad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Shortly after this tragic incident took place, strange things began happening in the house and to Esther herself. For instance...
sorry, is this just It Follows?
So you're joking about sexual assault right now. Is that your thing?
Not a joke. That's the, in the movie, it's like a ghost that piggybacks on like sexuality and stuff like that. Is that it?
Interesting that you bring it up. I was going to get into this later, but maybe this is a good place to put it. So a lot of times when poltergeist activity happens, specifically, not like ghost hauntings and all your regular hauntings, specifically poltergeist hauntings happen, it's due to some kind of psychological trauma.
Like Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's due to, yeah, exactly. So it's been a common thing for poltergeist activity for a long time, that it usually stems from sexual assault or physical assault. Anything that makes you question your reality and your emotions will cause it.
That's fucking crazy. And dude, and what's kind of tripping me out is literally, not to go Dreamcast on you or anything, not Sega Dreamcast, but I literally had a dream last night that there was this young girl who was her house got burned down and stuff, and we had to run away and shit, and then it just turned into this weird house of psychological trauma manifesting itself as this Silent Hill-y kind. That's so crazy how there's that correlation. I wasn't an asshole. That was a legitimate question I asked.
You are not going to like where this story goes after you told me about your dream, buddy. Let's continue.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to like that, you big pussy. You're going to hate it.
I know. And I'm not looking forward to I know we're going to try to ramp the spook up when October rolls around. So yeah, it's been fun sleeping. I'm going to miss it.
For instance, there would be loud banging and knocking coming from parts of the house at night where no one was actually at. And Esther began having seizures around the same time as the mysterious banging and knocking, during which her whole body would swell up and she would often run a high fever.
That's not fun.
Not at all. You know what I kept picturing when I read about her swelling up thing was that blueberry bitch from Willy Wonka.
That's one way to put it. I was going to say, if this happened in modern day, everyone would just think she had corona.
Exactly. These events went on for a little while, but eventually they escalated, and soon objects throughout the house would actually start floating up and were being thrown across the floor. True poltergeist activity. And I'm also going to specify one more time. As soon as a spirit becomes violent in any way or begins to interact with objects in this realm of reality, it's officially classified as a poltergeist. It's not a regular haunting.
Interesting. Oh, so they aren't, ghost and poltergeist are not one and the same?
Not necessarily. Not the way that we view it. You know what? I was actually kind of thinking about this. I think the next time we touch base with a ghost or a poltergeist episode, we should probably just do an introduction to spirits, so there we can classify them, we can get everybody on the same boat, and I think we're going to do that next for our ghost episode. So
yeah, we should.
Idea.
Yeah, not to plan for the future while recording, but
yes,
we should try to get that in before October. I think that'd be a good intro, or we could do it the first week of October to kick it off. Who knows? Depends on how much we want to scare you.
Yeah, you just let us know on Facebook if you guys want to see, or I'm sorry, what is this, YouTube? If you want to, if you want to hear an episode about an introduction to spirits, let us know. But we are going to be working on it. So just keep in mind this whole episode that this is a poltergeist. This is not your run of the mill ghost. Okay. Now by this point, the rest of the family had had enough of whatever the hell was going on in their house and decided to call a doctor for a house visit in order to examine Esther professionally, not in a loving way.
You think it's bad for the people getting haunted, but it's also pretty shitty for the people who live with them, who just every night you just hear everything being thrown around the room and stuff like that.
Like, shut up.
Dude, that would be because it's scary, but I wonder what point when the scare just wears off and you're just kind of this is just like having bad apartment neighbors.
Yes, actually, yeah, it's kind of like that. It's unfortunate.
That sucks.
When the doctor arrived, the poltergeist did not shy away from making itself known. So scratching noises could be heard throughout the house where no one was at, and objects such as the bed sheets and the comforter on Esther's bed while she was in bed would move on its own. And not only that, but the phrase, quote, Esther Cox, sorry, let me do this the correct way. Quote, Esther Cox, you are mine to kill, unquote.
That made that significantly less scary.
And so that phrase appeared on the wall next to her bed.
In blood or in just graphite?
It didn't say. It didn't say.
Spooky.
Very spooky. And the doctor naturally, might I add, noped the fuck out of there. But he did return to the house the next day in order to give Esther sedatives so she could remain calm and try to sleep. And then he swiftly left the house again after that.
He ran and chucked it at her and ran right back out.
He had a syringe ready to roll and just threw it at her at her neck and from the doorway.
Good old classic dart style.
Yeah.
That takes skill. These PhDs guys, they really had to study their asses off to do stuff like that.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad it's all paying off for them. But once the sedatives were given to Esther, the paranormal activity increased in frequency and magnitude. So more objects took flight and more loud noises throughout the house occurred. It was just it kept snowballing.
See, drugs are bad, okay?
Okay, so let me tell you something. If you don't want ghosts to invade your house, okay, you gotta stop taking your sedatives, okay?
So the ghost is just a Canadian Mr. Mackey.
Yeah, dude, don't even ask me to try and do that. I can't mix two things together. I'm not that good. I can't be like, nope, not happening. Can't do it.
that's like a Mel Blanc like level of like voice acting.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know who that is, bro. So
oh, he's the original voice of Bugs Bunny and pretty much every Looney Tune like ever. He made up the Bugs Bunny voice, the Porky Pig voice. He's considered like a god in like voice acting culture.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him.
Yeah.
How's he doing these days?
He's pretty dead. He's been dead for a while.
I figured.
Yeah, he was old.
So, for many months, this activity kept happening. In fact, word spread throughout Amherst over time, and eventually everyone around town knew what was happening in that house. Clergymen tried visiting the house in order to help the situation, perhaps by performing exorcisms, but they also witnessed the flying objects and loud banging and were deterred from even being in the house.
Now that's bad when even like the priests who should be like well equipped for this kind of shit, they're just like, fuck this.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? I'm doing this as like I'm doing this as like my side gig. You know, what I mean? Like, I'm a cobbler, so I'm not even getting paid to be here. Why would I do this?
I did this job so I could hand little wafers and wine out to people, scream on a podium once a week, and then I just kind of hang out. Like I don't want to deal with this.
It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
In December of that same year, Esther contracted diphtheria. Diphtheria.
Diphtheria.
Sure that's how it's said.
Diphtheria. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Diphtheria. So that's an infection caused by bacteria, and it leads to a brutal cough and a swollen neck. And when I say swollen neck, I mean, I looked at pictures of this. It's pretty gross. It's bad.
Oh, new segment of me looking at pictures that nobody can see. Let's see. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah,
that's
it looks
really
like
bad.
Peter Griffin's neck.
Yeah. Damn, that's gross. And all the shit in their mouths.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. So she developed this disease or this infection. And for 2 weeks, she was ill with the infection. And during these 2 weeks, there was no reported activity when she was in bed. Then, after the infection ran its course, Esther moved to her sister's house in Sackville, New Brunswick. Sackville.
Cox and Sackville, huh?
Yep. This is who wrote this?
It's that one little teeny like comedic bit in the entire horrible horror film.
Yes, exactly. All we have is the names.
Yes.
So she moved in with her sister in Sackville, and for a couple weeks, she was there to fully recover from the infection. And again, during the weeks she was away, there was no poltergeist activity at her sister's house. But when Esther eventually returned to the house in Amherst, the activity began again and in even more violent ways. Yes, very bad, and it's gonna get weird. So parts of the interior of the house would spontaneously combust, catching fire with no one around to start said fire. Does that remind you of a dream you might have had last night?
Dude, I'm getting very quickly uncomfortable.
Good, because it gets worse.
Oh no.
As these events escalated even further, Esther claimed to actually begin seeing the spirit who was causing all this chaos, and it told her it would burn the house down if she didn't leave the house.
Why has this happened to me? Why do I have to... It feels like I literally dreamed about this last night, and you all heard it. You all heard me talk about this, and you know I don't read the outline.
You all know he does not read the outline. He didn't even know what year this took place in.
I'm actually kind of upset. This is really creepy.
But of course, Esther moved out of the house and moved in with another local family she knew in January of 1879. So she basically took the advice of the poltergeist and was like, you know what, ma'am? Look, if you're going to keep doing all this shit to me, I will leave, but just stop doing this shit to me. You know what I mean?
I'd do the same, probably.
But unfortunately, this didn't end the poltergeist activity. In fact, it actually started becoming more physical with Esther.
Uh-oh.
So she would constantly claim to be slapped, pricked and scratched by the spirit. And at one point, she was even stabbed in the back by a folding knife.
My worst nightmare. That's it was cute for the like being like smacked. It's like in elementary school. The person in front of you and like you just getting poked, but like the whole being stabbed and like scratch. That's now we're in like the demonic stuff, and that's the stuff like I grew up like Catholic, so that shit was basically instilled in my head to be like super fucking real, along with Catholic guilt that prevents me from a lot of happiness. But it's crazy that like all that stuff like actually happens to people.
Yes, and it's bad. That's why I wanted to get into these topics, is because it's creepy, man. There's a lot of weird stuff out there that is happening to people. So, and the fact that you grew up Catholic, I think that you have like a leg up on most people because you know about it, and even though it freaks you out, you know about it. So
this is true, and it's hard to say too how to defend yourself against it, because some say it works, some say it doesn't. Some say just the classic holy water. Some people say all you need to do is shoot off a Hail Mary and you're good to go. Not like the football pass. I mean like the prayer.
Yes, football.
Yeah, see, I know a sport. I actually did play flag football for 2 years and tackle football for 2 days.
I know nothing about football. I couldn't even tell you how many yards, or I don't even know. Don't know, man. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Do you know how to throw a football?
I know how to throw a football, but that's all I know. And I don't know the rules. I don't know how to tell the difference between a home team and an away team color. I don't know anything.
Well, don't worry. That's all you need to know is how to throw the ball and how to tackle somebody. And I think you're pretty proficient in both of those. So yeah, see, you already got like 90% of it.
Dude, where's my scholarship? What the hell?
Yeah, you should have used it, man.
Okay, well, all of this activity that was happening to Esther was actually witnessed by many people, including the family that she was staying with and the people who would come and visit her. So naturally, as the poltergeist activity progressed, public interest in this case was increasing as well. Esther eventually stayed in New Brunswick again for some time, and while she was there, she was being investigated by a local man who had an interest in science, which I don't know what that means, but I don't think back in 1878, science was like, the different fields of science was like well established. So he just had like an interest in science.
Okay, so he wasn't a scientist. It was more of a science enthusiast.
He was a science enthusiast, which back then I think you could be more of and actually do stuff with it than you could. Like today now, I like science for the most part, but I can't make a living off liking science.
Right.
Be a scientist. Back then, I think it was a little different.
Okay, so maybe he's like done like experiments before. He's done like things and done his own research, but he doesn't have like the education to call him a certified scientist.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting from this.
Okay, that makes sense.
So this man investigated her, and this is where the attempted communication with the spirit began. So how they would communicate was through a series of questions that would be answered by said spirit with intricate knockings and tappings, kind of like a ghost Morse code.
What?
So what they would do is they would ask questions, but they would specify what certain types of taps, knocks, scratching, stuff like that, what that would mean in sequence. Mm-hmm. And that's how the spirit would answer questions.
Oh, so basically he started knocking and stuff and realizes he was getting a reply and then tried to like decipher it and stuff like that.
No, so like he would talk out loud like normal, but the spirit would reply with the knocks and stuff, and they would set a guideline as to what those knocks and scratches meant. They were kind of, honestly, they were kind of working with the poltergeist. They were like, okay, so when you want to say yes, you do like 2 knocks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So they were like, they set the rules set out the rules aloud, and the ghost complied.
Yes, the ghost complied for some weird reason. But honestly, a lot of times they do, because a lot of the times the reason they're doing the things they're doing is for the attention and to be seen. So
that is a basic human need to be heard.
To be heard, and that's why I yell.
Works every time.
And it was at this point that they discovered that multiple spirits had been harassing Esther this whole time. Ooh. So the original spirit said his name was Bob Nickel, Then we had the other spirits, Peter Cox, who was a distant relative of Esther, and a woman ghost named Maggie Fisher.
Whoa. Damn, haunted by your own relative.
Yep. And multiple of them. It was like a spirit bukkake.
That was an image I did not need in my head, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
So, after her time being investigated in New Brunswick by our mysterious science boy, Esther left and moved in with some friends during the summer of 1879 on a farm on the outskirts of Amherst. It was here that the paranormal activity actually stopped for a little while and she got a little bit of a break.
Actually, and sorry, I'm still kind of caught up on the Science Boy. That would make a really good romantic comedy comic, you know, where it's like this girl horribly being attacked by spirits, but then she meets a nice little science boy, you know, who like helps to kind of develop a communication thing. That could be a fun, I don't know.
Hey, man, save your storyboarding for when we're not recording. How about that?
You'll see. You'll all see.
Okay, so she's getting a little bit of a break from the paranormal activity, but upon returning to the house in Amherst, of course, the activity started up again. Now, we have another person we need to introduce to the scene, and this man's name is Walter Hubble. What a great name, Hubble.
Hubble. Sounds, isn't that a telescope?
Yes, spelled differently, but yes.
Ah, okay.
So Hubble was an actor, but more importantly, he had an interest in investigating psychic and paranormal phenomena, and he was highly intrigued by Esther's case, because remember, at this point, it was pretty well known. I mean, it had been going on for almost a year at this point, and the word was spreading, so he found out about it.
I just think it's funny that his name is Hubble, and he's also into like the paranormal of the stars and dumb.
No, I get it. I know what connection you made. I mean, it was autistic, but I got it.
No, it sounds like something you'd see in those shitty novels in the checkout line by the pharmacy in Ralph's.
Oh, like a tabloid?
No, like those like novels that you see. Like they are fully fleshed out books made by not good authors.
Oh, okay. No, I see what you're saying, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not one to really say what's a good or bad author because I almost never read anything that's not on the internet.
Me neither, man. Everything I read is on the internet for this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a rough transition someday, but we'll see.
We'll see. So he reached out and ended up coming to visit Esther at the house in Amherst and stayed with them for a few weeks to investigate the happenings. And during his stay with Esther and her family, Hubble experienced firsthand many of the events that he had heard about. First, mysterious knockings and scratchings. Second, objects around the house lifting into the air and being thrown, as well as actually seeing places in the house burst into fire with no cause, like in front of his own eyes. And all the while, Esther was in sight and clearly unable to be the one doing these things.
Yeah, because that would be the first thing a skeptic would think is like, okay, this bitch is just trying to get everyone riled up. But like, that's crazy. And he's not the first one this has happened to. Like, this is, like I said, ghosts is a territory where like my kind of like skepticism kind of like disperses a little bit because, like I said, I was raised with basically saying, no, this shit is very real and it will get you unless you go to church.
Unless you go to church and pay your 10%. That's right, buddy.
It's fucking garbage.
So Hubble also witnessed the physical assaults on Esther, the pinching, slapping, scratching, that kind of stuff. And after seeing these events firsthand, Hubble convinced Esther to go on a speaking tour, telling audiences about what she is going through. Because yes, all the while, basically think about it like this. This is one of the first cases he's ever run into where he's seeing things with his own eyes. His mind is probably blown at this point, and he's like, we got to go tell people about this and make some money off of it.
I was just about to say, he saw that and he just saw dollar signs. He's like, dude, this is because correct me if I'm wrong, but every paranormal investigator of any sort is just looking for some kind of break to have people start taking them seriously because that's when the money starts rolling in.
That's why I paid MUFON in order to take my field investigator test. I want to be taken seriously as a UFO investigator.
This is true. And also too, I was just thinking about this the other day, but like I'm glad I didn't, because it was incredibly fiscally irresponsible if I did. But there is a part of me that does kind of wish I was there for the Area 51 raid thing.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, there was no raid at all, and it really was a huge waste of time for anybody involved. But how funny would it have been to just say that you were there for when that happened?
I wish I would have gone, man.
Yeah, but like we said, it was a waste of money. Like it would have been fun for the experience, but like it was a literal waste of money and time.
True. So during this tour, let's keep in mind that the paranormal activities were still happening. All right. And unfortunately, the tour was unsuccessful. And one night she was heckled particularly bad, and they canceled the rest of the tour. Like because this was all his idea in the first place. And she's like, look, man, I don't want to do this anymore. People are like yelling at me. Because back then, think about in 1879, how closed-minded people are to this subject.
Right. You think they had a cool touring name?
Like Cox and Hubble strike again or something? I don't know.
Balls deep with Cox and Hubble.
Yeah. So once the tour was canceled, Esther moved back to Amherst and picked up a job working for a man named Arthur Davison, but was fired and thrown into the slammer for a month because Davison's barn burned down, and he accused Esther of doing so.
Interesting. Is this why the name Esther is like kind of has that ghostly connotation? Is that like where all this began?
I don't know, but I think it's just because it's an old name. Like, I don't know I have no friends on Facebook named Esther, by the way. And it's just an old name. So like when you think of ghosts, you usually think of residual hauntings, old hauntings, right? People who died centuries ago. And funny enough, centuries ago, people were named Esther, apparently. So
interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into the etymology of that name. It's an interesting name, but it's crazy. I was just curious about how it really does have a sort of like paranormal quality to it.
It does. Yeah, it feels like you're talking to if I was being haunted, right? Like if I was laying in bed and somebody was slapping my willy around and I was like, who's doing that? You know, like that kind of stuff. Let's say I had a poltergeist, and they said their name was Esther, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. But more often than not, it's just your dog, right?
Yeah, just put the peanut butter down there and no, that's disgusting. I'm joking.
Remember, conspiracy podcast. Our information is unreliable.
Even my own information. I was joking. That was a joke. That's what I even went a little too far with that one. I'll admit.
Oh man, that. It feels good. That was a good laugh.
So after she was released from jail, the activity plagued Esther for years at this point, but it slowly started to fade out and eventually stopped altogether in her older age. And the rest of Esther's life was unfortunately pretty uneventful and fairly tragic. Once the poltergeist finally left her alone, she fell out of the limelight. And okay, let me redo that. I just fucking sound like a retard.
Okay, you need to give me a second to recover from that.
Okay.
Oh. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Oh man, that was I did not expect that to hit as hard as it did. It's just really funny.
Speaking of Porky Pig, dude, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm crying.
That was embarrassing.
This was pretty good though. That was pretty good. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. That was pretty fun. That was pretty dumb. My bad.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Okay. See, this is the kind of content that they're going to get on our Patreon if they get unedited videos or podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be worth the money.
Exactly. All right. And here we go. So once the poltergeist finally left Esther alone, she fell out of the limelight. And honestly, that was probably a good. Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Dude, I'm too funny, man. I don't know.
I know. I'm sorry. You said the same line and I just thought of it. Okay, I'll do better. I'll do better next time. Let's just try it again.
It's okay. It's okay. We got this. We got this. So once the poltergeist finally left Esther alone, she fell out of the limelight. And honestly, this is probably a good thing for her because she wasn't the type to look for the limelight. You know, it was mostly Hubble that was looking for this. Even back in the day when word started spreading around town about what was going on, she didn't want any part of that. Like dude, like her body was constantly swelling up, and you know, like she was having these fevers, and she was, you know, being pinched and scratched and all this. She didn't want anybody like watching that. So the fact that she's out of the limelight was probably a good thing for her.
Oh yeah, she was getting the shit beat out of her on a daily basis. Some dude was obviously taking advantage of that and was trying to just like profit off of it. And then on top of that, there's the public humiliation that comes with it. Like you said, like nobody wants to come out and like show how fucked up they are and make a show out of it. Like that's, yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah. Once it stopped being like exciting, once that must've been a relief, but it's like that whole thing. Okay. You get rid of one problem, but you're still stuck with this haunting bullshit for most of her life, really.
Yeah, I mean, it tinkered out over the years, but it still went on for a while. So it did end, but you know, and then not much is known about her after this because obviously the public eye turned away from her. But you know, she married twice, and she actually died at a age of 52 in November of 1912. So back then, I don't know, 52 still a little young for.
It's pretty young,
yeah,
because this is 1900s. Medicine was still pretty good, so. Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah, but not a great life afterwards. And she was like during her heyday, you know, 18, 19, when all this started, you know, she should have been like, you know, does he like me? I don't know. Does he like? But no, she was being like assaulted by a poltergeist, multiple poltergeists the whole time. So.
And we never did figure out like if the poltergeists ever gave like a reason for their hauntings or they were just dicks.
Didn't give a reason. But my speculation is that there was something tying those people to that house, and when she was sexually assaulted in the beginning by her male friend, by the way, not a good friend.
Yep.
Friends don't sexually assault people.
That should be like that's such like a baseline requirement.
I know, but it's weird. All the things that I looked at were like her male friend, and I'm like, that's not a friend. My friends
not
don't
at all.
do that, and I only do that to my friends.
Yeah, and it is a sad statistic, but in actuality, a lot of cases like these are like it's like 80% of them are from people that you know, and even a little bit less so, but relative. I don't know. I don't have the facts, but usually it tends to be people that you know or people you're close with that tend to do it. So yeah, you should just everybody be careful.
Be careful. But honestly, saying that okay, like I was saying, these spirits were probably tied to this house in some way or another, but weren't manifested until that event when she was sexually assaulted because it created enough negative emotions in that household to kind of unleash or open up some, and I'm saying portal loosely, but that's the best word I can come up with, some kind of portal, some kind of gateway for them to actually be able to manifest themselves. That's what I personally think happened. And then they just from there decided to cause chaos.
Yeah, that was reasonable because in the cases of like what we just talked about, the stuff really for the most part mostly happened around that house, but there were cases where it did follow her to other places, like when that other barn burnt down, right?
Yes, exactly. So it's weird. It's kind of strange. It's not unheard of that poltergeists can attach to people. They don't have to necessarily be stuck in one place and tied down to that place. That's more of a traditional haunting. Poltergeists can follow people, but do they? Not all the time.
Interesting. Yeah, and I wonder too, because like, you know, obviously it was already pretty damn bad to begin with, but with all the public attention, and if we're going off the assumption that ghosts can be, for lack of a better term, activated through a traumatic and frightening experience. The fact that she had the whole public like jeering at her, that was just another humiliation in the book. That's probably why they doubled down and things just got twice as bad.
Yeah, everything in this story snowballs. So as the public interest grew and there was scrutiny on her and her beliefs and her integrity, well, of course, a lot of people didn't believe this was happening, and they
Right.
thought that she was doing it, but they didn't witness it like other people had, and that all that public scrutiny started becoming more of a negative emotion in her, and then, like you said, then in turn, the paranormal activity just started ramping up because of that ramped up negative energy.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of like I don't know, have you ever had like days where it's like you get like a weird feeling like something's off, or you're just like, there's something weird in the air today, and then some like crazy bullshit happens in the next like week or two?
Yeah, I felt that way when I woke up this morning, but then I remembered I drank a whole bottle of mead by myself.
Yeah, that might just be the mead, but supposedly there is something to when a bunch of people feel a certain intense emotion towards a certain thing. Like they say that happened during 9/11, like the day it happened before the news broke, kind of just like the world kind of felt this like lurching, like something's wrong. And it's, yes, the tragedy itself, but also because of what resulted from 9/11 is not just the fact that a ton of Americans were killed, but it also began this spiral downward for USA of like no longer fighting for what's good, but fighting for money and oil and using things as excuse. It just, so much shit began because of 9/11. And I feel like there's something to that when something terrible is about to start. There's just, everyone has this collective like, fuck, something, there's disturbance in the force.
Yep, and that's kind of what it's like when there's a haunting. That's kind of what it's like when there's a poltergeist. And you don't know what it is until it wants you to know what it is, and that's what we found out in this story.
That's crazy. And of course we can go more into like what it is that makes a ghost tick and what is it that makes them like think, or what their goals are, because it sounds to me like we'll save that for the 101 episode, but like it's interesting how many unique variants there are. So it's like we can almost say there isn't just like one.
No, there's multiple types. There's different types of hauntings, and that's why I think it'd be a good idea for us. Looking in hindsight, we probably should have done the introduction before this episode, but I really like this case, and I wanted it to be a good introduction to our new subject matter that we're going to be talking about, every once in a while. But yeah, we will be doing an introduction series, so stay tuned for that eventually, guys.
It's like on the first day of school, instead of starting with a lecture, we just started with a movie.
Yeah, we started with a movie. It's kind of like, when you're substitute teachers, you're like, yes, it's a sub. And then they're like, let's call her fat. And then but then she rolls out the old VCR player and you're like, yes, Bill Nye. So we're good. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is the end of our Canadian tale.
Sweet and spooky.
Short, sweet, spooky. Don't go to Canada. There's nothing up there that you can't get in America.
Except healthcare.
Except for the healthcare, maple syrup. And that's it. That's all I can really think of. That's all that really matters to me.
Yeah, this is completely unrelated, but we're talking about substitutes. For all y'all who don't know, Nick and I did go to high school together, and we didn't really have any classes together except for one where it was not either of us that were really at the forefront. We mostly were just there for the show, but we had a substitute teacher one day and the class just terrorized her. Like, and of course, because we were like 15, 16 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from that perspective, I mean, as adults now looking back on it and being like, and having friends that work as teachers and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. But like, as a 15, 16-year-old kid to like, it was really funny.
Those are good times. Good times.
Yeah. The class was severely punished for the rest of the semester because of it. But I still remember it.
All right, guys. Well, we are still working on our Count Chocula episode. And believe it or not, I was actually at the store yesterday. I have not seen a Count Chocula cereal box in years. But guess what I saw in their seasonal aisle? A fucking box of Count Chocula serial.
And you know what that means? He's active again.
He's active again. He is hunting right now. It's bad. And his buddy Booberry is right there with him. So look, I texted Tasker, I sent him a Snapchat of what I saw, and then I ran for the door. It's happened. Something is going on because he hasn't been active in a long time, dude. What do you think this means?
Because normally it's just, government cover-ups and like all this stuff and, very kind of light defensive action against us. But like the man himself is on the move. Like, is that our fault, or is that like just was this part of like was he just planning to reactivate eventually? We don't know. So we're going to take a little extra precaution. We made another backup that we've hidden into the first one was undisclosed, but the second one is even more undisclosed because we can't take chances because we might be next. Like, I know we're kind of like a little bit above the Count Chocula's age range, but still like the guy could be going out for blood.
I think you're right. We're definitely above the age range. Like we've discussed before, Count Chocula preys upon people around 8 to 13 years old. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tasker and I are about 15 right now.
Yeah, easily.
So we are above the age range, but he might just make examples of us.
Well, and also for all we know, because I haven't been to the grocery store since you sent me that picture, but for all you know, maybe you're the only city that has Count Chocula, and maybe it's more of a warning sign.
Oh, shit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, for all you know, it could be the warning shot of like, hey, I know where you are.
Okay, here's what I need you to do, Tasker. You need to go to the store. Let me know if you see it. Listeners, you're in on this too. We've discussed everything we have found with you so far. With you are involved now. I need you to go to the store and also tell me on social media if you have seen a box of Count Chocula. I need to know, because if I'm the only one, and if you guys don't hear from me, I'm dead.
Yeah, if this is the last episode that ever gets uploaded, you know exactly what happened.
Okay, let us know on social media if you guys see any Count Chocula.
Yes, please. If you're on iTunes, if you could shoot us a 5-star and a review if you feel like it, that would be super helpful. Boost our rankings, help us out. Anything helps, honestly. Spotify, you could shoot us a follow, get updated when we have new episodes every Wednesday as usual. Middle of your work week, maybe can help with your commute. Who knows? Instagram, we have @CEOTPK, Twitter @CEOTPK1, Facebook, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. If you want to email us, we got CEOTPK1 @gmail.com. Discord is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. We've got some really good memes in there that people have been posting, and join our community. We'd love to talk to you. And if you have a couple extra dollars that you would like to shoot our way, we do have a coffee donation thing, ko/fi.com/CEOTPK.
Yes, everybody. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We're excited to have brought Ghost to you. Stay tuned for that Ghost introduction episode or series that'll be coming up in the near future. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody listening. Honestly, we've been seeing people interacting with us more. We've been seeing, more follows. Really appreciating all of you guys out there. I'm glad that things that I say on this podcast don't deter some people, which is nice. Yeah,
and we recently broke 2K listens, so thank you guys for giving us those clicks. It always makes me happy because podcasts, it's not like listening to like a 3-minute song. It's like these episodes are like almost an hour long, so it's like, or some of them even way longer than an hour. So we just appreciate you guys spending time with us and hearing what we have to say. Like I said, we'd love to hear from you in any which way form. Obviously, America's in a shit show right now, and the both of us are doing our best to, just keep on getting some laughs in and during this whole very scary time.
Yes. So, again, thank you guys. Honestly, appreciate you all. And also just remember, whether you're a poltergeist or whether you're a regular, dumb, stupid, ugly ghost, just remember that the truth is out there.
You may be a beautiful ghost someday, but actually that probably won't happen because you won't turn into a ghost, because none of this exists. It's not.
Choking on my thick clouds.
What a way to go. I don't think that'll get you into Valhalla.
Nah, that would definitely not.